Well, we were raised in the Methodist Church in South Alabama, and my two brothers and I, she kept us in church. My father died when I was 9, but during the 50s and 60s, missionaries would come through Methodist system annually. So the seed was planted, started traveling, was in the Army in Southeast Asia, and maybe then I started seeing how good we have it here. I've always enjoyed traveling, enjoyed looking at movies on the other parts of the world, and then when we started hearing missionaries tell stories about their ministry, their lives, we always ask, what do you eat? How's the travel? What's the price of gasoline? Just the entire stories that they would bring, and then certainly the spiritual stories of the needs of the people. And then growing into a time that we could do some traveling and visit these countries. It just, some of them are very scenic places, and others there's always some scenery, obviously, but there's no high tourist locations. And it's just always spiritual adventures wherever we go. And we love to travel to these places. In China, there was an older man, Samuel Lamb. I think he died last year. He had been put in prison several times for many years, simply for conducting church services in his house. And every time he put him in prison, his church would grow. So after several times, this had been many years ago, they just left him alone because his church would grow when they put him in prison. A young lady in Russia, one of our interpreters, she was about 30 years old. She was an orphan. She'd been raised in a state orphanage. I think she was adopted by Christian parents. She refused her pay when our trip was over because she wanted for us to use the money to come back. Because it's such a spiritually dark place, a lot of people have no hope. It's hard to understand, but when you see it, you can understand what they're talking about. They just seem to have no hope for their future, and they just plod along. And of course, many of these, or if not most, of us as non-believers, they haven't heard the Word of God. God has blessed us here. This goes back to the question, why was I born here? We were blessed with so much here. And I look at, I didn't invent a machine. I didn't develop a new drug. So I look at myself as just I maintain what we have here. But we can all, contribute to spreading God's Word. And some of us are called into the full-time ministry, and others are just called to support those. And while God's never called me and my wife into full-time ministry, He has called us to support prayerfully and financially any way we can those that God has called to go.